So let me tell you about this book. There are lawyers and law students in here, and people with a sense about law, and the title is called The Presumption of Guilt. The first thing you should understand is that Ogletree's out of his mind. There is no legal concept of the presumption of guilt. Well, I put that title for a reason. There should be a presumption of innocence, but all too frequently we find cases where there is a presumption of guilt. The presumption of innocence is turned on its head because of people's race, or class, or dress, or where they are, if they're driving, or shopping, or walking, or jogging, or sleeping. They will find that there are presumptions about them. And I'm trying to move us to the presumption of innocence that we all embrace, but in some cases there is a presumption of guilt. And then the subtitle is The Arrest of Henry Louis Gates Jr. In Race, Class, and Crime in America, because sometimes we forget that there's an issue of class and not just race. And I want to talk about that a little bit today. And then where we are and what we have to do. And I have to say, if you look at the data in the book, I mean the real heart of the data comes from familiar sources. It is the Maryland ACLU, it's the Southern California ACLU, it's the National ACLU, somebody who has been concerned about these issues from the beginning. And let me just say this before I forget it, that one of the amazing things going on right now, there was an article by Bob Herbert in the New York Times, he's in the book as well, and some other issues, last week, about a practice in New York City. It's not Mississippi, it's not South Carolina, it's not North Carolina, it's New York City. It's a blue state. And there's a practice now of stopping largely African American Latino men and frisking them and searching them and turning up no drugs, no guns, no criminality. But then the police wants to put that information in a database. Innocent people, people who are stopped wrongfully, and then to keep in the database just in case something happens in the future. That is as frightening, as draconian, and as overwhelming as anything I can imagine. And it's coming now. This is not 1930s. This is not before Miranda or before Gideon or before some of the principles of fairness. It's now. And very few people are speaking against it, although the ACLU and others are talking to Governor Patterson in New York to not let this happen, because these things are happening now as we meet and talk about it. In the state of Arizona, and this is a little trick I put on my publishers, the book was scheduled to go to press, as Mark knows, in April, and I told them, you can't go to press, my name is misspelled. And they said, oh God, we misspelled Ogletree? But what I was really trying to do is I wanted to put in the book before it went to publish what was happening in Arizona. It was hot news, and I said, here is a classic example of racial profiling right before us. And it's a classic example in this sense. I'm not anti-police in this concept. Here's what I'm saying. How can a police officer know who is and who is not an undocumented worker? By how they look, their dress, how they speak. Think about that. The idea that police will have, quote, discretion to decide, it is by design a practice that's going to create enormous amounts of difficulty, and it's the kind of thing that we all should be concerned about. And the amazing thing is that the public is overwhelmingly in support of it, because they're looking at the catalyst. That is, they're true. There was a police officer who was killed in Arizona, and they're thinking about that by an undocumented worker. They're thinking about a prominent sort of philanthropist in Arizona who was robbed and murdered in Arizona, and that becomes a sense. That's what they do. They're drug cartels. They. And so you have this draconian law that impacts everybody, and that is what I find most dastardly, and that's why the book is important, and I hope it addresses some of those issues. So what